Paris is the city of light. It is said to be one of the most romantic cities in the world. I guess everyone has heard these sayings. However, in this video, I want to show you more than just the beautiful sights of the city. I want to tell you some interesting facts that I'm guessing you didn't know. By the end of this video, you will see Paris in a different light, with little known facts and places. For example, did you know that profiting or selling pictures of the Eiffel Tower when it's lit up at night is actually illegal and it violates copyright? Intrigued? Well, let me tell you more. Paris is one of the oldest cities in Europe, possibly in the world. The original settlement was called Lutetia, and records show it existed in the 3rd century BC. Amazingly, it started on a little island in the River Seine. The Romans took over in 52 BC and fortified it. The city grew to the left bank of the River Seine, and by the early 4th century AD, it was renamed to Paris, or Paris. The name actually comes from the original people that lived there, a Celtic tribe called the Parisii. However, back then, it was no more than a fisherman's village. That makes Paris technically around 2,300 years old. In fact, France is considered to be the second oldest country in Europe, dating back to August 843 AD. With so many years of history, there is bound to be a lot that was lost to time, but some interesting facts remain, most of which are largely unknown. So you ask me, what are these facts? Well, before we talk about that, just think about it. Visiting Paris and following the well-beaten path is what most people do. They'll check into their hotel and then go to the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, Notre Dame Cathedral, and so on. And I'm guilty of that myself. However, the more I read about Paris, the more I thought about all the lesser-known history facts and places hidden right beneath the ground or even in plain sight. Granted, you would need a lot of time to explore, and most tourists have only a few days, so it makes sense to go to the most famous attractions, but if you have the time, you might want to explore further and uncover some of the hidden secrets. So let's start by the Eiffel Tower. When you visit the Eiffel Tower, you will be in awe of how much bigger and more intricate it is in person. I didn't quite expect its size or how amazing the metalwork is, especially since it was built in 1889, over 135 years ago. It's a marvel of technology from that time. However, an intriguing phenomenon you didn't know is that each summer the tower grows and then shrinks again in the winter. As temperatures rise, the iron lattice structure undergoes thermal expansion, causing it to grow about 15 centimeters or 6 inches in the summer. The employees encourage you to climb the stairs and not to use the lifts. It is actually a great experience with amazing views. What you might not know is that there are a total of 1,665 steps to the upper floors. While the tower's staircases have a total of 1,665 steps to go from the ground to the top, you can only climb about 674 of them. That will take you to the upper observatory deck. The rest is restricted due to the dizzying heights. To go to the summit, you need to buy a ticket and take the lift, but I tell you it's well worth it. So, I am here on top of the Eiffel Tower, and I'm going to eat a croissant.
Is it good?
Perfect place. And since I'm talking about the croissant, did you know that this pastry that's just synonymous with French cuisine, it's actually not invented in France? Yep, this flaky, buttery pastry has its origins in Austria, where bakers in the 17th century made a bread roll in the shape of a crescent. This was to celebrate the victory against the Ottoman Empire. The crescent was the symbol of the Ottomans, so this was a way of showing them that they had won and they would eat their symbol, eliminating them forever. Since we're talking about bread, have you ever noticed that baguettes are always displayed and sold standing up? If you see them on a counter, they will be nicely stacked with the flat side down. That seems logical since they might roll off if you turn them over, but this has less to do with logic and more to do with superstition. In France, it's considered bad luck to place a baguette upside down. This stems from the old tale that says that bakers would leave a loaf of bread for the executioners, and by turning one loaf upside down, the executioners would know exactly which one they should get. If someone else picked up that specific one, they believed they would be cursed with hunger. Well, I'm guessing that this myth started out with another loaf of bread because the baguette was only invented in the mid-1800s, and the myth is much older than that. But luckily, you can revert the curse by drawing a cross on the flat side before eating it. Since we're talking about food, let's go to the French fry. Nothing is more French than French fries, right? Wrong. Did you know that French fries are actually misnamed? Historians have traced them back to Belgium. They're actually Belgium fries, and they have been fried there since the late 1600s. So, next time you ask for French fries, remember, they're not actually French. And speaking of iconic symbols, few things are more American than the Statue of Liberty, right? Well, not quite. The familiar 93-meter monument that lives in New York City was originally a gift from the people of France to commemorate the friendship between their countries. The completed statue was presented to the American minister to France in Paris on the 4th of July, 1884. In 1885, the statue was disassembled and shipped to New York City. With the famous statue shipped across the Atlantic, many more have popped up to fill her place. Today, there are several replicas of the statue located all over Paris, the largest on a small man-made island on the River Seine. Now, interestingly enough, this smaller replica is actually a gift from America to France to thank them for the original statue. There are at least 5 more statues of Liberty in Paris, so the next time you're in a city, see if you can find them all and let me know. Another minor curiosity is that there is a bridge called the New Bridge, or the Pont Neuf, and it's actually the oldest bridge in Paris because it was built in 1607. So the New Bridge is actually the oldest. Another quick one, if you drive in Paris, you'll realize that Paris has no stop signs. However, it has the largest number of roundabouts in the world to control traffic. There used to be one stop sign, yep, just one, but at some point between May 2012 and September 2014, it disappeared and nobody knows who did it. Speaking of streets, everybody knows or has heard that under the streets of Paris are the catacombs, with thousands, tens of thousands of skeletons. But did you know that people used to grow mushrooms down there as well? Because it's dark, it's damp, and the tunnels are perfect for growing mushrooms. The catacombs are actually a tourist attraction. And speaking of attractions, you obviously go to the Louvre. And it's enormous. It's really, really big. If you spent just 30 seconds on each piece, it would take you 35 days straight to see the whole thing. However, did you know that the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre are not the most visited monuments in Paris? It's actually Notre Dame Cathedral. Before I tell you what I think is the most bizarre fact about Paris, please let me know you liked the video by clicking that thumbs up button. This way, you will see more videos in your feed. A sub to the channel would be illuminating. Be sure also to check out the links in the description. Some of them help sponsor the channel. Now, for me, the most interesting fact you probably never heard of, unless you are from Japan, is the infamous Paris syndrome. Yep, some tourists are so disappointed by Paris that they develop a syndrome that mainly affects Japanese tourists. And it's the sense of extreme disappointment exhibited by some people who visit Paris and feel it's not quite what they expected. And specialists say this is a severe form of culture shock. If you have never visited Paris, or if you plan on going again, keep these facts in mind and try to visit some of the lesser known monuments. This might make your trip more unique. Just try not to be disappointed. This is, after all, not an amusement park. It is a real city with real people, and as such, it has real problems, and not all of it is beautiful. However, it is a cultural hub, a place that has influenced history around the world, and a culture whose legacy can be found across the globe in our daily lives. Do you know of any other facts that I missed or something that's really interesting? Let me know down in the comments. And also, let me know what was your favorite fact. If you have visited or live in Paris, tell me of your experiences. Maybe you know something that nobody knows. Now, heading back to Ireland, be sure to check out my playlists on Irish landmarks. And speaking of great places to visit, do you know the Curse of Kylemore Abbey? Well, check that video out next.